Long ago, in a quiet village called Amadike, there lived a man named Okoro. Okoro was known across the village. He was hard-working, strong, and proud of his family name. When Okoro married Adana, the whole village celebrated. Not because he was rich. Not because she came from a powerful family. But because everyone could see the love between them. Real love. The kind people rarely see but always wish for. Adana was calm and respectful. She spoke gently and carried herself with dignity. Every morning she and Okoro went to the farm together. And every evening they sat outside their hut under the fading sun. Talking. Laughing. Dreaming about the future. Okoro often said proudly, "Our house will be full of children." Adana would smile softly and reply, "As long as they are healthy, I will be grateful." For many months, their home was peaceful. But sometimes, the greatest storms begin quietly. When Adana became pregnant for the first time, Okoro was overjoyed. He told everyone in the village. He walked proudly through the market saying, "My child is coming." When the day of labor finally arrived, the women gathered around Adana inside the hut. Outside, Okoro waited nervously. Pacing back and forth. Praying silently. Then suddenly, the cry of a newborn baby filled the air. The midwife stepped outside with a smile. "It is a girl." There was a brief silence. Just a moment. Then Okoro forced a smile. "A child is a blessing," he said. They named the baby Kayamika. That night there was food and celebration. But whispers had already begun. "Next one will be a boy," people said confidently. Adana believed it too. But the second child was another girl. The third. Still a girl. And slowly, something began to change inside Okoro. By the time the fourth daughter was born, the village had already started talking. One evening, Okoro called Adana outside the house. His voice was calm, but his eyes were cold. "This house needs a son," he said. Adana felt fear rise inside her chest. "Please, give it time," she pleaded. But Okoro had already made up his mind. Not long after that conversation, he returned home with another woman. Her name was Ngozi. Young, confident, and very proud. Adana greeted her politely. But deep inside, her heart was breaking. A few months later, Ngozi became pregnant. When she gave birth, it was a boy. And the celebration shook the entire village. Drums were played. Palm wine flowed. People danced and shouted. Okoro carried the baby proudly. But in the corner of the compound, Adana stood quietly with her daughters, watching everything. And that was the moment she understood something painful. Her place in that house had changed forever. Years passed. Ngozi gave birth to more sons. The boys were treated like kings. They received everything they asked for. They were never punished. Never corrected. Whenever they misbehaved, people laughed. "They are boys," Ngozi would say proudly. But Adana's daughters grew up differently. They woke up before sunrise. They fetched water. They worked on the farm. They respected elders. They learned responsibility. Adana raised them quietly. Without anger. Without bitterness. But she taught them something important. "Your character will speak for you," she often told them. Meanwhile, the sons grew wilder each year. Lazy. Arrogant. Disrespectful. But Okoro refused to see the truth. He believed having sons meant victory. He did not realize that the seeds he planted were already growing. The first sign came when Okoro's eldest son started refusing to work. He spent his days drinking palm wine and fighting with friends. Soon complaints began reaching Okoro. Your son insulted an elder. Your son stole from a trader. Your son caused trouble at the market. Each time, Okoro defended him. He is young, he would say. Boys will grow. But problems do not disappear when ignored. They gr. Ow stronger. One night, village guards arrived at Okoro's compound. His sons had attacked a traveler on the road. This time the matter was serious. The authorities took them away. Villagers gathered to watch. And for the first time in many years, Okoro felt shame. The same sons he once celebrated had now become his greatest embarrassment. While Okoro's sons brought disgrace, something remarkable was happening elsewhere. Adana's daughters were building their own lives. Quietly. One became a successful trader. Another learned to read and became a respected teacher. One married a hard-working farmer. Another started her own business. People began to notice. The daughters of Adana are remarkable, villagers said. Their mother raised them well. The same mouths that once mocked her now spoke with respect. But Adana never bragged. She simply smiled. One evening, many years later, Okoro walked slowly toward the small hut where Adana lived. His steps were heavy. His pride was gone. Adana sat outside weaving a basket. Her hair had grown gray. But her eyes were calm. Okoro stood silently for a moment. Then he spoke. Adana. I was wrong. She looked at him quietly. I chased away the blessing in my house, he said softly. After a long silence, Adana replied. No. You simply chose pride over wisdom. Okoro lowered his head. For the first time in his life, he understood the truth. It was never the daughters who destroyed his house. It was his own blindness. A child is never a curse. A child is never a mistake because of gender. Children become what they are taught. And sometimes, the blessing you reject today is the one that would have saved you tomorrow.